recent events in federal politics and its effect on Tony Abbott's leadership, do you still feel sorry for him, and do you still think him to be quite lost, as you did in 2010?
Well, I think he's still quite lost. But, I don't think I feel sorry for him now. I felt sorry for him then because I think he was struggling with coming to grips with competing with someone else for the Prime Minister's job. And I think it became quite obvious, particularly when he was, begging for the job, that he wasn't up to it. And one of the comments that I get in the street more than anything else is, we know why you did it now. And I think that's a reflection on the capacity of Tony Abbott to actually be the Prime Minister. I think he's still struggling with it. He was struggling at that time with how to become the Prime Minister in this competitive environment. And I did feel sorry for him because someone that you've seen in the past as being a fairly strong, rugged individual, to see them in a different circumstance, I think it's a human thing to feel for them.
What did you see then in those early days? And you described him as not being as good a negotiator as Julie Gillard turned out to be, and that was part of the process. What did you see then that you've seen come to fruition in his time as Prime Minister?
Well, I don't think he didn't then, I don't think he does now, comprehend what he actually wants to do in terms of leading the nation. We see this sort of continuation of, and I remember him saying, I'll do anything to get this job. So it was about getting the job. And I'm sure, and I think we're seeing it played out now with the possibility of war in Syria. But that, to me, that's more about keeping the job than actually putting up an argument to take this country to another war. So I think he's still in that vein of trying to work out what he's actually doing. And if you examine some of the policy mixes, there's so many contradictions that have come out that people are having difficulty working out where the pathway is actually supposed to go in terms of the direction for the nation.
There are a lot of things you can say about Tony, and quite frankly, I've written quite a lot about things that I don't agree with Tony. But I wouldn't say he was lost.
Quasi-journalist again.
Yeah, it's the quasi in me. And I certainly don't agree with Tony, who used as an example, our policy in respect of Iraq and Syria, and to say, we're going in. It's all about Tony wanting to go into another war. I mean, to say that, I really don't understand why you would say that. And in fact, he explained that in the last few days, as did Julie Bishop, who said, well, that territory, on the eastern part of Syria is not governed by anybody, and they are looking at the legalities of, the RAF being more involved into that eastern part of Syria. So I think that was a very unfair attack on Tony in that regard. Are there issues, difficult issues facing Tony? Of course there are. I think he's entitled to credit for some of the things that he took to the last election. So the boat people, and I could run through a few others, I suppose, but to be brief. But just to finish off, I think I'd agree with Tony in regards to, what is the narrative, what's going to be the big plan for the next election, because I think there are very big reform issues facing Australia, but it's not just facing Tony. The Labor Party is struggling, if not even more so.
I'd agree with that. I think that, and I think Louise hit on that. Neither of them seem to have a narrative, and the general public are fairly confused with the messages they're getting from both of them.
Well, Joe had a narrative today, but then you can debate that one.